Hi, y'all. The hunters gossip. The hunters gossip. You can sip this tea. Why? Who made it? You already know who made it. God made it. So listen, we finna gossip a little bit, okay? So, what is this? What is this? This battery, right? If you look closely, you got a plus sign meaning positive. And then you probably can't see it, but you also got the negative end. So you got a positive end and you got a negative end, okay? On batteries, no matter what kind of batteries that you have, you're always going to have a positive end and you're going to also have a negative end, right? So I want you to understand that batteries, batteries, batteries are so much equivalent to us as people when we're having relationships with people, whether it's relationships with mates, whether it's relationships with whatever the case may be, right? And every relationship that you have, you got to understand there's going to be somebody that's going to be positive and there's going to be somebody that's going to be not so positive. Now, I'm so sorry if I am coming up in this thing, busting some people bubbles or whatever. And I don't want to sound cliche, or I don't want to, cause no disagreements or whatever in no relationship. Like, well, if I'm the positive, then that means my mate is the, I don't want you to look at it from that point of view, but I do want you to look at it as, in this sense, you're going to have somebody when you're looking from a godly standpoint, when you're looking at it from a spiritual standpoint, when you're looking at it from a relationship with God's standpoint, you're going to have somebody positive wise that's going to have a deeper, more closer relationship with God than you will the other person inside of the relationship. Now, I don't know too much about how batteries operate, but just going off of the basics of what I've researched, the positive really doesn't do anything, right? It's the negative that does all of the work. And what happens is the negative, after burning, doing all the work, they pull from the positive, okay? They pull from the positive. So the job with the positive battery is to sit there and pretty much be a vessel when it comes down to giving that negative the strength that is needed for it to be able to carry on, okay? And again, in looking at in a relationship, the person who is the strongest, who has the strongest relationship with God or whatever, a lot of times that person that is not so strong, that does not have a stronger relationship, they will literally rely on the stronger one. And so I want you to understand that, listen, if you're that positive in your relationship, don't get mad or don't feel no type of way, or don't always bicker or whatever because your mate is draining you. I want you to understand, when these batteries was created, it was given it was enough power that was given on the positive for it to be able to allow itself to be drained from the negative, okay? So now, when I convert this back to you, God equipped you, positive one, in your relationship, okay? God equipped you with enough power that you would need to be able to pull your fellow mate or whatever the case may be, so that they could be able to get the energy. They could be able to rejuvenate when need be, or whatever whatever to fulfill the purpose in which God has called for them to fulfill in their lives. So I want you to feel honored instead of feeling like, oh my God, this is too much. Or I want you to feel special. I want you to feel like you are doing even what you are called to do in the relationship as the positive, okay? And see, here's the thing about it. There's not two positives on here for a reason. If ever there was an instant where there was an additional positive that was needed, such as when you're jumping off another vehicle or whatever, when you're talking in reference to car batteries, you would go on the outside, not the inside, to get an additional positive, okay? To rejuvenate you as the positive, okay? So don't feel like there's anything wrong, because we wouldn't look at a battery and feel like there's anything wrong if we had two positives or if we had two negatives or whatever. It was meant to have a positive and a negative. And then I want you to also look at this. There are two batteries, right? There are two batteries. Now, I want you to understand that even though these batteries hold two different names, and one might be the most popular branding, and one may be the not so popular branding, and one may be the expensive branding, and one may not be the not so expensive branding, or low budget, or what you call the poor people batteries, the batteries that only people that don't got enough can afford to buy these batteries versus this battery. But if you use both of these batteries, inside of a device, because they have a positive and a negative, no matter what kind of batteries they are, two mismatch, one low budget, one high budget, one that's name brand, one that ain't really not so name brand, you use them and it's still gonna allow this device to work no differently. And then I tell you something else. You put the cover on here, nobody even knows that these batteries are mismatched. Nobody even knows that this remote control carries a low budget battery and a high budget battery. Because why? Because at the end of the day, regardless of the value of how much you spent on them, at the end of the day, they were meant to do a job, which means that they're going to sin. I want to encourage people that may feel like because of how they was brought up or because of the things they may have went through, that they may not be worthy of the calling in which God has called on your life. Baby, God done covered you and shield you, so nobody knows. And even if they did know, nobody cares. You still operate the way you supposed to operate, the way God intended for you to be able to operate. And here's my favorite part. If I took these batteries, both the high and the low battery, the expensive and the least expensive, if I took them out of that remote control by themselves, they can't do much, huh? They got to be plugged into something. They got to be put into something. So now consider this you, or consider this you, and consider this your mate, or consider this your mate, and you got to be plugged in something, and consider this God, and you got to be connected to something in order for you to be able to see your full potential, to see what it is that you can do. So I ask you, battery, whether you are the positive or whether you're the negative, you do just what it was that you were meant to do with your battery operated self. I love you, and as always, goodbye.